We're here at the PGL Major in Stockholm, Sweden. I've got Semmler here with me. First LAN in almost 2 years. Big LAN. We obviously had IEM Cologne over the summer, but first major in 2 years. How's it feel being back on LAN with the crowd here in Sweden?
Terrific, and it's because of that. It's because we have the crowd. So when everybody's saying, "Oh, this is LAN," when they were trying to say like, "Oh, we're back on LAN," it's like, no, you're playing from hotel rooms, or you're playing from like a room where maybe the players hear each other, maybe they don't. It's not LAN yet. Like, sure, a lot of players in the past 2 years have been boot camping. They've been having each other in the same room, trying to play in their facilities or play in boot camps. So we've seen that. So the players are still used to that kind of thing. It's not LAN until you actually get the fans. It's not LAN until you get the crowd. When you have that and you're playing on the stage, then to me, that's it. We're back into what actually makes or breaks players and teams. And that's what this is all about. It makes it so entertaining. So it's terrific to be back here with the fans in a packed house here in Stockholm. It's awesome.
How special is the Swedish crowd? Since in many ways Sweden is the capital of Counter-Strike, the biggest country in Counter-Strike history. The Swedish crowd has been going crazy over there, not just for Swedish teams, but also for there's a lot of Navi fans out there, for example.
Yeah. And we have actually had like a bit of travel as well. I've noticed a lot of French fans here as well, which is sick. It didn't go their way, unfortunately, with Vitaly, but you still have some international fans that have made it. But the Swedish fans, I was a little nervous at first because usually the Swedes really cheer quite a lot for the Swedish teams, and so when NIP went out, I'm glad that NIP got to have one match on the stage, but I was kind of hoping that they would have a bit of a deeper run, just because then you really get that Swedish audience pumped up and going for their home team. But yeah, they've been cheering a lot for the other teams as well, and that's been really cool to see. So great fans so far.
There's been some critique that after such a long break of like having no LANs, that the quality of Counter-Strike has dropped. But now we have arguably the top 4 teams in the world right now in the semis, arguably, depending on who you ask. Do you think there's any merit to that argument, or do you think it's useless comparing between Counter-Strike eras?
No, it's not useless to compare. It's just that you need to take into account how online CS is played and how LAN CS is played. That's an element, that crowd, again, that's why I say also, ties into the whole crowd argument and the whole LAN argument, is that we had a perfect example actually in the quarterfinals. G2, Nico standing in connector on Mirage. He's got 4 guys, there's a smoke in front of him, and there's 4 guys in that smoke. He would have no idea online that that's happening, right? He would get caught off guard completely by that trap. But because we have fans and an audience, all of a sudden they start making noise, and immediately Nico, he's a LAN player, he knows when the crowd is making noise, something's going on, and he even says it where he's like, "It's for me," start spraying that smoke, and sure enough, there's the guys in there, right? So those kinds of things, that's what... all these players, I'm actually so impressed that they were able to start picking up on these trends that quickly, because they've been playing online for 2 years where they can get away with all sorts of things, right? Sneaking in smokes, going for backstabs, going for knives, all those sorts of things that you just can't do on LAN. And so a lot of these players, they don't have that experience, so they've been having to learn on the fly. And so it's been really cool to see that development, really rapid development. But what's satisfying about that is that you still have the teams that maybe it's that they're able to learn on the fly. Maybe that's why they were at the top of the scene for the past couple of years, right? They deserve their spots, is because they can adapt quickly to whatever changes. So these LAN changes that were thrown at them weren't enough to totally throw them off their game, and they are still competing, and able to get deep into the bracket.
Have you seen the LAN atmosphere specifically affecting either negatively or positively for some teams? Like, a lot of people had questions about a team like Gambit, young guys with barely any LAN experience. They've not shown a lot of signs of slowing down at all. Have you seen it affect some other teams maybe more?
No, I was really worried about the pressure getting to NIP, and I think ultimately that's probably what got to them, where, again, you have that LAN element, and you also have the home crowd. They're the home team, the only Swedish team. There were some elements where I think maybe that mental side, they weren't quite able to keep up, and so maybe we didn't see the full level of NIP that we would have seen had it been in an online environment, or let alone, not even an online environment, but maybe not in a home environment. Maybe if this was happening in Cologne, we would have seen an extra little level out of NIP, because they wouldn't have had that home crowd going, where things aren't going their way in front of their audience, and that always weighs on players. So maybe there's an advantage here for players who are traveling to Stockholm, where they're not having to deal with that, and they can just play CS, and they don't care if the crowd is cheering for them or not. But some players really do seem to thrive in this environment, like Hunter, for example. Another example from G2, but Hunter, the guy's ice cold. If anything, he just played better on LAN. Like, he just totally did his job, kept it cool in the clutch, even reacted to the fans afterwards, right? Like, the guy is excellent on LAN. So some guys are just like confirming the thoughts, right? The theories, is he going to be good on LAN or not, right? You're always wondering, like, is this guy going to step up or not? And some of them are just clearly stepping up, and some of them clearly need a little bit more work. But I understand where you're going with the Gambit argument. That was what we were all wondering, because Hobbit's the only real, one with real experience. Then the others are kind of coming up behind him. But that's what you can do with system teams. When you have a system and you can rely on that system to work right online, and they're finding out that the system carries over to LAN, when you have a system to fall back on and a structure there, I think that gives a bit more strength and a bit more support to the team, and so they can maybe catch those mistakes a bit faster rather than a team that kind of plays it a little bit more by ear, a bit more emotional, a bit more freewheeling, right? So maybe that's Gambit's strength, is that they have that system to fall back on. They've spent so long playing together now and refining the system that even on LAN, it holds up.
But going to the tournament right now, we have two huge semis, like massive matchups here. But a lot of people are saying like this is Navi's major to win. They're probably the biggest favorite in CS history. To my memory, they're the biggest favorite in CS:GO history, at least, to win a major. Is it really Navi's major?
It's their major to lose. I think that even going up against Gambit, Navi are favored. Bit is just unbelievable. Talk about a guy stepping up and just showing that he is made for LAN. I mean, he is outrageous. Simple just gets to enjoy the ride almost. He's got Perfecto stepping up. He's got Bit stacking. He's still got Electronic, who he can rely on. I mean, he's got so much. The talent is so deep on Navi that it's just a benefit, a bonus to have, you know, Simple, one of the GOATs, on your team. So it's a terrific situation for Simple, where I feel like in his mind, he doesn't necessarily feel like he has to do everything himself. He's got teammates. He's got a team. He's got Blade's system to fall back on. Everything is coming together for that team right now. So yeah, I don't think it would be a stretch to say that they're the favorites and that it's their major to lose. This is probably the best chance that Simple has of winning a major, hands down. If they don't do it now, I think we're going to have to keep an eye on Simple, because it's going to be tragic.